Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirk Cast with your hosts, me Jimbo and Calvinator. As always, we'll be discussing latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on over the last week or so within the Metaverse Football League. One important note before we kick off this episode: none of what we chat about on here is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. Calva, the State of MFL, we're bringing it back. The last time we did it was episode 29, so if my math serves me correct, just shy of a year. We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And we love doing it, kind of taking a pause, analyze the whole project, see where we are, not just, focus on the short term, also a bit more long term, analyze it. We're going to use this business tool, the SWOT analysis, very popular. And I think we also have a great guest because he told us that he keeps listening kind of a year behind on our episodes, or half a year, I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating. So he also can really compare and see where we are right now with the project. He was also a guest in episode 52, someone who's very passionate about MFL, about football in general, and whose Old Town Owls keep joining me in the relegation battle in the Gold League. We keep kind of escaping relegation and then fighting each other to survive another season. So welcome, 408Sauce. How have you been?
Good. Thank you for having me again. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and discuss the state of MFL, if you will.
Awesome. Great.
Welcome.
We're
back.
looking forward to that. Yeah, so before we do all of those, share our opinions and our analysis, we have our updates. And before we start our updates, we usually talk about some streams. And we had quite an eventful backdrop, I would say. It was a bit, another one. And the funny, maybe Jimbo, you can tell what we were like chatting before we went live. What we were talking about.
Yes. So on Monday we had the I did a stream, just like a watch along, and that went great. And then we had the pack drop stream on Wednesday. And for those of you who didn't even watch the stream or just were involved with the pack drop in some way or another, you would have known what happened. Fortunately, there was a delay, some unplanned maintenance and flow. Lovely jubbly. Thank you for that, guys. Happened, which to push it back by an hour. But the funny thing was, Calva and I were talking before we started the stream along the lines of the previous drop. There was that error where Yax didn't remove a piece of code or some technical stuff I don't really know the ins and outs of, and which prevented previous pack buyers to get, like, say, rare pack, for example. And we joked, hopefully that's the last time anything else happens on, pack drops, because Yax said he implemented some procedures to never let that sort of bug or error happen again, which is great. And then lo and
Not
behold,
just previous pack buyers, more specifically, if you bought a pack on the drop prior to that one.
Yeah, sorry, just the prior one. Yeah, you're right.
Just that one. So if you had, because Sturge got one because he didn't buy it prior, and I did, so I was blocked and logged out. I couldn't.
I didn't get logged out though, which is usually
not logged out, but I tried to refresh, and it gave me the error, and then packs were gone. So I was a little sad, but it's okay. It happens. I learned that, like, it's just part of the game. They're doing their best, and I kind of just quickly let it go. And then this pack drop was amazing for me. So
well, maybe that should be your moment, so we can build a little cliffhanger here. Cliff. But I know it. And
but then literally minutes before the drop, I think there was a Twitch message. Someone said, like, flows down. Looked at the Discord. Kid you not, 5 minutes before the drop, flow goes into maintenance. And I wonder if the drop still could have happened, but it was more I think it was maybe precautionary measures in case stuff did go wrong. Because knowing if an unplanned maintenance, you probably still maybe could have had the drop, but it just maybe would not have been a complete experience for every single user. Which at that point, if you can't accommodate for all users in some respect in terms of experience of buying and purchasing packs, you might as well delay it. So they're the sensible thing, as much as some of our annoyance, and for Calvin and I having to kick up another hour before we before we did the drop. But a big thanks to Lucas as well for allowing us to drop 2 kickoff packs and giveaway on the stream, which was great. So it was a long one. Calvin, you dropped just after the drop happened. I think I stayed on for like 25 minutes or so. There's a couple of decent packs. We rattled through them.
Nice.
But before we do quickly move, I just want to say we had a YouTube comment from the Snake TS. And previous episode we mentioned about penguins and making a penguin club empire.
Yes.
And he put, what about, he basically said, how dare you not mention my snake empire I'm building? So I replied to his comment and said, we'll mention the snake empire in today's episode. So I've had to get that out of the way. So
speaking about that, I have more animal talk later. So another cliffhanger for more animal talk. Okay, let's move to our moment of the week. So 408, you have the floor because you definitely had an amazing moment with the pack drop.
I think so. Despite the pack drop being delayed, I was actually warming up the high school team that I coach, and I stepped away because the pack drop was delayed by an hour or so, and I got it then and there on the field, and was about to sell this pack later for a marginal profit, but I decided not to, and I was actually on a video call with Sturgeonator and Amino, and I opened it, and it's a 16-year-old 85 striker.
You lucky man. What a pull.
Unbelievable.
What a pull.
With
amazing.
Just solid all-around stats, 86 pace, 80 everything basically that you need, so he's got a good foundation. I think 40 defending randomly, not bad for a striker. So I kind of like that on my strikers.
That's
like to play a high line and press a lot, but yeah, he's got a lot of potential. And it's funny,
Awesome.
Sturge and I were talking about it, and he's like, well, yeah, you could list him and probably get maybe 1.1 for him. And I was like, nah, he's worth at least 2.3.
Well, definitely. But it's like he has so much potential in him, right? Because he's 16, and we know they have more bot in them than. Plus, he has so many years in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Even after 2, 3, 4 years of development, he still is young at 20. So. Yeah, I would also say he's way more valuable. And why not keep him for the first 4 years so you can still sell him as a 20-year-old, which is still super young, I would say. Or even 2 years, 18-year-old is still super young.
Right.
But I'm very curious about this guy. Amazing pool.
Yeah, so he actually captained the side on his debut at 16.
big boy.
And scored a goal. So
we take that.
Drew the match 1-1. I put him on the silver side because I already have.
Okay. Not Old Town.
He's not on Old Town because I have 2 legendary strikers and 184 already. So I just figured, I wanted him to play more. And
yeah, you gotta play.
Yeah, and I want to try to win the league with the silver side, or at least get promoted, right? And I just feel like Old Town is doing well. I mean, we're not in the relegation zone right now, Calva. So we have a big match against Casablanca tomorrow. But
nice.
if we can, so if we can win that, if we can beat you guys, then.
Well, this may be a nice transition to my moment, which is also about Casablanca. But last week I told how I was like, after 7 matches, I only had 1 point. So by now I really escaped that total like relegation zone and that disaster. I changed some things around. And this week I had another moment about like formations and player instructions. That way you just change something and then you see it work, and then you're like, it feels so good, right? It's like a little adrenaline rush because I have one defender with 60 shooting, so that's like super high for defender. So this guy I give high positional freedom to then join the corners. That's like the plan. And then the other 2 I put on super low. Okay, I shouldn't maybe give away my tactics to you, but whatever, for the pot content. So I have my two defenders on low, but this guy, because he has high shooting, I put on high. And then there was a corner. I saw him going forward, and then he scored that goal. So for me, it was like the master plan worked. He scored. He joined the corner. Yeah, and that was like, you really see those individual player instructions come to life and in effect, and it really impact the game. So for me, that was like a really nice moment. Like with those things, you can really have an impact. It matters. Tactics matter. Of course, we already know it, but also individual instructions can change things. So now you know, if we play against each other, there's one guy who's going to join corners, and he's pretty good 60 shooting.
Interesting,
yes. Jimbo, what's your moment?
I guess my moment is that the Wyverns are now officially out of the automatic relegation spots and down to the playoff relegation spots.
Ooh.
I basically went, fuck it, I need to upgrade big time, was sending out offers for like 6.5%. I was just like, right, I just need to go for this. I'd already qualified for the knockouts of the cup, which frustratingly, I lost to Jamie's Leganes 1-0 today. I probably had the strongest team on paper, but he just sort of outperformed me when you watched it, so thoroughly deserved win. So I know he'll listen to this probably when a couple of days time. But congrats to him for beating me in the cup. That's frustrating for me because of my league position in bronze. I utilise the cup to try and make up for lost MFL because I know I can go quite deep in cups. A lot of my teams, almost 60-50% of the time will hit at least semi-finals from my two clubs. But my Espar Tails went 1-0 down and won 7-1 today, which I was like, what the hell? How does that work? But since strengthening both of my teams, they've both won their resulting matches, and I've got a big game tomorrow against Heat MFC or Heat FC, which I have a Rango loaned out to. So if my striker goes and bangs in against me, I'll be fuming. And imagine I lose 1-0 and it's those 3 points that send me into the automatic relegations. But if we win that, it's huge. But my moment of the week is that I've strengthened and it seems to be going all right. I got a 77 rated keeper today, 78. Bosh. Instant progression. And I like that. I like that. Obviously, because a lot of the players I've just grabbed in, I went for older mint ages, but this pack drops. I'm like, there's maybe a decent chance they could at least get like a little +1 if they've got a decent bit of potential because of their mint age. They'll hit their prime age quicker. So I was trying to anticipate a bit of that, but I just need to stay in the divisions, man. I need to stay in the divisions.
So now I really want to have 3D because then we can see Arango like not cheering too much, like this sorry.
If he starts pumping the chest, he's immediately on that transfer list and he's gone.
This, do you see
Brahim Diaz when he scored against Manchester City?
Oh, that one's yeah.
And this week, AC Milan, like Jimenez scored after like 30 seconds, and he was like playing for Feyenoord like 2 weeks ago, and he was literally 2 minutes like sorry, like it's just too much. Like come on, dude, come on, you can do a little bit of celebration. They understand, but.
Give it big knees.
But that's an interesting one because I think it was Disasi couldn't play against Chelsea, right? Because he's on loan. He's on loan from Chelsea.
Okay. So in the league you can block it.
Chelsea played. Yeah. So, whereas in MFL you can. Your lone player can. Yeah, no clause.
It's probably a good thing because no doubt all of us probably have some players from like Ron John or Make Think, and there's probably a high chance we play them in any of our leagues. So imagine you play, you've got a friend in MFL who gives you quite a lot of their players to give to you, and suddenly you play them in the league, and you're like, right, I can't field a lineup because he owns half my club. I've just got to forfeit. We're going to have that happening.
What do you think of this? On that note, I had a player receive a suspension in the league, and I didn't realize I wouldn't be able to play him in the cup.
Oh, you didn't know that? Okay.
Yeah,
it carries over. Yeah. It's the same association, IMFF. So they are strict, tight.
I see. Yeah, got me there, Calva.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Okay. Let's move on to Devil Dates.
Luckily, we still won the match. So.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. So it didn't matter in the end. You handle it. Well, about the dev updates, there's quite a lot of little features and things. No news yet about classes that your players that you loan out can play against your own teams, but some other things. The first thing is that there's a new team member, Dobby. Welcome. Insert
Welcome, Dobby.
all your Harry Potter jokes right now. Everyone's very tempted, but we'll see if he can work his magic, hopefully. Then about the market offers, a little progress there. But the team has been working hard on other things, such as the engine. As you saw, they published a detailed mid-season report, which is great. A lot of insights on the engine. So do read that. They're also analyzing a lot of other data, and Quentin keeps working on the upcoming engine version. Then player availability enhancements. So the team has finalized the back end for the new system that will allow you to set different preferences for each division, so that instead of saying only stone, you can really be more specific with your contracts and your offers and your availability. And also a lot of UI improvements. So for example, corner highlights. I think for me that's also a pretty frustrating thing, is that tons of corners are being shown but nothing really happens. So you get all excited and then in the end nothing happens. Also a new icon, penalty icon, red cards are displayed differently to avoid confusion, so for suspension. The goal difference on mobile is now visible. It was a big requested a lot. For contracts on new filters, and you can also bulk reject now. So there's a lot of little different updates in the app UI that make life a bit better if you're an MFL agent or club owner. Any reactions to any of this? Or
I did read the report, and I loved the amount of detail it went into. I
what's
think
your
I
main
loved more
takeaway, you think, from the report?
I think before I go into what I loved though, it was sort of unexpected, and it brought back memories of when Juan Carlos JC used to do his sort of, even no way to that extent and that to that detail, right? But he would say, you know, maybe the formation v formations or the expected goals, or not expected goals, the goals per division. It was just great to get a little bit of a look into how the engine is, which is what you said, Cav, which is great. If I'm completely honest, my initial thoughts, I need to go back and read it again. There's so much in there.
Okay, so there's not like one nugget that you're like, oh, this makes sense.
No, I read it when it first came out, and it's been a long weekend. If I'm completely honest. So I mean, if one of you two talk about it, I'll probably remind myself.
I don't know, 408 read it. I also didn't read it, to be honest. Maybe I should, or make content about it, but I don't know. 408.
I skimmed through it, but I did chat with Sturgeonator about it, so I have somewhat of an understanding of the gist of it. I think there was a lot in the report about XG and average goals per game with it. So as Jimbo was saying, it does highlight the engine and kind of give you a broader sense or somewhat of an understanding of how it works. And you know, Sturge was talking about how the game is incentivizing you to set up a lineup to score goals, even though that's not necessarily how football may be in real life or just in general. There are teams that go out there to just, like, now that I know you have your center back going up on the corners, I might drop the line even more so that, you know, or I wish I could take my best defender, you know, and be like, mark this guy. So so that he doesn't score. But you know, and I'm sure it'll get there. So anyway, within the report, I saw that they were comparing, you know, how many goals are scored in the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, and comparing it to MFL games and things like that. And the numbers were, for me, like on par, you know, exactly what you would want them to be, kind of, in terms of creating an engine that I think is functional and whatnot. So that's gonna last, right? That's what's the word? Sustainable. There you go.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I think the problem is that people don't accept realistic results because they still get angry about it, right? You have some crazy XG upsets, and it is realistic. And we keep posting real life matches. I know Taggart also had this week of Fix Engine, or they are realistic, but then people still don't accept it. They still think I'm good. I had more chances. I had more XG. I got robbed. I rigged. This is unfair.
Yeah.
Let's vent in Discord. Even though it can be perfectly realistic with red cards, with goals, with goalie mistakes, with everything.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And I've just quickly scanned back over again. And this is the table that I love, was the upset one, where they showcase like the overall difference between two teams, and then like what's the overall difference between two teams, and like the win percentages, the draw and the loss percentages between S3 and S2, and on the upsets, it demonstrates that statistically the rate of upsets has decreased. So it's a globally spoken about topic, controversial topic. No, like I said, people don't like the upsets, but statistically the upsets are down from the previous season.
Okay.
So it might just be, I think there's an element of when you dominate the game on stats, but then if you were still the weaker team on paper, do you still see that as an upset? Like if you dominated a team that you probably most times should lose against, but you still lose, but on the stats you were beating them, do you class it as an upset? I don't know. It's just how you tomatoes, glass half full, glass. It's how you perceive things, isn't it? But it's good to see that upsets are universally down, because they're the things that rattle people the most, and we can get less rattling and less emotion, less carnage within the Discord, and not Discord, just security in general. I'm not saying there's not much of it, but if we can reduce that, then everyone has a more pleasing experience, shall I say?
Yes. Well, I have a good connection to next topic, because speaking about upsets and testing, if you put a very, very bad team in the Diamond League, it's gonna lose each time with like a lot of goals against them. So that shows that with some big overall differences, you always lose. Such as TTP Training Grounds, they are still bottom of Diamond League in 13 games. They conceded 111 goals, 111. So
huge.
They're like on an average of, what's that, like 8-9 goals per match against them. But yeah, let's forget about them. Let's look at the whole Diamond League and what changed this week.
I did see they actually had 5 shots and 1 on target in their last game, which I think is over like 2.5 times the amount of shots they previously had, a 0.59 XG. Huge, by the way. So it is possible. Game. They had some chances.
Yeah, you can insert this GIF, So
there was a save for the other keeper. There was a save for the other keeper. Yeah, there's a chance. Yeah,
okay, there is a chance. Yeah, so let's see if before the end of the season we have a goal from them. That would be amazing news. Then let's look at the other teams. Meta still first, 32 points, although the lead is a little bit less, now 4 points to number 2. Visa London, Bichon at 25, Omelets 22, so then there's like quite big gaps opening up. Jogo Bonito doing very well, 21 points in 5th, and then a whole bunch with 17 points to 12 points, Naples, BFC Barcelona, K Socios, Amsterdam Lions, Atletico Tango, and BFC Manchester. And before I let you react, Jimbo, there were 2 interesting results for me. That Visual and Meta Mercenaries, they played against each other. There was 1-1, so they didn't widen the gap or close the gap. And BFC Manchester beat Tango 2-1. So Big Wilbert is really having a very tough season, and BFC could stay up. That's, I think, my conclusion.
Yeah, it's almost like Club Atletico Tango are doing almost a bit of a Man United, where I'm not sure which one I'm doing more of a disservice to, Atletico Tango or Man United, when I say that. But Atletico Tango definitely underperforming, should be nowhere near that relegation zone, but they are. I think the top 4 is probably as many of us would have expected it to be, with Meta, Vissel London, Milano, and OMF, and OM Legends, 4 of the best teams. Meta being just the best statistically, and Ronan seems to have got them firing. I think they won 10 in a row after that first loss, and they've drawn the last 2, so there has been a little bit of a dip in form. But when the dip in form comes against teams that are in and around you, it's not so bad. But it's definitely going to be shaping up for an interesting one, especially in the relegation battle, because one place is automatically sealed, donezo, unless training grounds suddenly have this miraculous like Wigan mode where I don't think this would overcome any escape survival that has ever happened in the history of IRL football and Metaverse football if this was to happen. But you just see how close it is between those 11th.
Yeah,
to,
like 6 and 11.
I mean, yeah, even
like
6 to 11, really.
Yeah.
They all get their 3 points, and they've just got to make sure they win those games around them. So it's, the top 4, even 5 seem to be pushing away.
It's going to be super interesting. Yeah, the relegation battle and the top spot battle, even a title race. If Vissel 4 points is definitely not over. And also about the cup. So we just had a cup
huge
round.
Upsets.
Yeah, like there, Tango beat Meta Mercenaries. So they kicked them out of the cup. So that's interesting.
On penalties,
and now they play against Mustangs. I forgot they also beat a big side, Diamond team. Ballers are doing very well with BFC Barcelona against
Joko
Bonito.
2 knockouts. Or 2 quarterfinals.
Yeah, and then BFC Mustangs. So they have 2 teams in the same in the bracket, the same side of the bracket. Bistione Variance is another quarterfinal, and DFC Amsterdam Lions Dio against Vissel Bordeaux. So that's the second Akane team, not the London team, the Bordeaux team, the Plat side.
Yeah.
So those are quarterfinals.
Especially interesting with Let's Go Tango and Amsterdam Lions both in the quarterfinals. If they continue to push their way through the cup, will that impact their league performance? What's the dilemma there? Which ones you prioritise? Can you prioritise both and still maximise your cup run whilst also, trying to survive essentially in the Diamond League? Do you have to prioritise one or the other?
Yeah,
that might be the choice Dio and Big will have to make. Hopefully not, but the chances are they're going to have to.
Yes. 408,
that's interesting. Oh, sorry.
And I want to ask, how is Barcenas doing? My Margot's hero from season 1.
He's doing well. He hasn't developed anymore, but he's still young. So to go from an 86 to a 90 is amazing. But yeah, I got him out of a rewards pack, and he's doing all right. I've loaned him out, so I have a lot of Legos on my gold side.
But he is which team? Ballers, right? I think. Or... Yeah.
So he's playing well. He has an assist this season, and I think what you guys were talking about is interesting, Jimbo. I heard you say earlier you were going to prioritize the cup, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because the leagues have higher rewards for the most part, right? So winning the league would earn you more MFL than winning the cup.
But remember both teams are in positions where they really can't win the league. Like they're in positions where they're both in the relegation scrap. So winning the cup in that sense would probably bring them in more MFL. So it's like, do you fight for more MFL? It's that balance. Do you take, the extra gains for progression, the extra potential MFL, the potential, that's the word, potential, or do you try and secure season 4 in Diamond, and that sort of piece, which at the end of the day, that's going to allow you to, a lot of these managers in Diamond own their own players, but if you're in the Diamond League and you say you're a Diamond club, when you go out and get players, I have no experience with this, I could be chatting absolute arse here, but you have more of a pool as a club, a bit like Premier League clubs compared to a Division 2 club. You've got so much more pool to bring in players, so it's going to be interesting how they, which route they go down. Is it a dilemma?
I really feel like if you are a Diamond team, you really don't want to relegate. Plat is like a swamp. I think a lot of them, you get stuck in the Plat swamp. Maybe this could be a great hashtag. Write it down. But like, if you look at Berlin, Parque Ibirapuera, or formerly known as Parque Ibirapuera, free team, 2,500.
2,500.
Basel, all those like season 1 Diamond teams who are relegated. They didn't get back in season 2. They keep being stuck there. it's super hard then to just get out. Frage with Roma, they had like 2-time playoffs. They just didn't get out. It's really hard. So you don't want to go down. I think that's like with that big risk, and they are now all in
So
relegation.
the benefit of winning the cup is that you're not promoted into a more difficult league. I don't know. I think if you want to win both, you're talking about, do they have the squad? Yeah, they need depth. And then
100%.
Then you're talking about signing players before the season has started, and intentionally taking 22, 23 guys and knowing that they'll play less, right? And knowing that there's some impact on their development, if you will. So I don't know. It's an interesting one,
Indeed. Let's move on to markets updates. Let me shout out a couple of new users. Maybe I was not as thorough, but I found about like eight guys, I think. So Nagato, TJL, Jiboa, Esley, 87, Bozo, Noon, 1900, Ifzi, and Tatos. And there we go with our animal talk. I put as new user of the week, Raccoon Football Sleep. A bit of a weird Raccoon Football Sleep. I don't know. I think he also changed his name a couple of times, but maybe the raccoons. We have snakes, we have raccoons, penguins. I would say bring more animals into the MFL ecosystem and not just lions. That's like, I like owls. I think you're one of the few of owls. 408, I think, or there's more.
Yeah.
Do you know there's more owl teams?
That's not my. No, I don't think so.
No.
But maybe I'll rebrand my entire agency and my 4 clubs to have something to do with tigers, or if that would be all right with you.
It needs to be more random animals, like
okay.
Blobfish,
even more obscure. Okay. Sloths.
Sloths would be nice. Yeah. The sloths, yeah, nice. Okay, then some market moves. Common, uncommon. I saw Patini buying loads of commons and uncommons. Also, Lucas, Toyadin, Imuha, Digo, Sentenza, a bit of the usual suspects. And Jimbo, you got rid of the second Jimbo. He took the severance package.
I saw that, Poor guy. No more confusion. That was actually just me selling up my second account. Sorry, guys. That's actually...
Yeah, but there's now only one. There's only one Jimbo. Now the whole stadium can sing this.
There's only one real Jimbo. One real Jimbo.
Yeah, exactly. Rare players. Speaking about selling a lot of players, Akane also went on a bit of a selling spree. He was first on a big buying spree, now a selling spree. The question is he gathering now a lot of Dapper because he had his Dapper problems to make a couple of new splashes soon? So is he now doing that, or does he really want to, take out some money? Time will tell. Very curious what he's gonna do, but he is building up his Dapper wallet a little bit, and some people are also profiting from that, such as Fantasy Gaffer, who bought a 17-year-old 83 striker for 325, which I think is quite a good deal, quite a bargain. Then legendary players, apart from the splash, I didn't see any. Maybe I'm not totally correct about that. And clubs, I saw 2 interesting ones. Josette bought Miami Ice for 150 USD, so it's also a prime location, probably with the Inter Miami hype. And SUFC, so I think that's Sheffield, like SUFC Blades 22, this user.
Yeah, Sheffield.
He bought a gold club for 325 Salto, Uruguay. So that's really a big move for a user that has quite a small agency, almost no rares. I checked his agency, and then he's buying a gold club. So quite a daring move. I don't know if he thinks about then selling it or taking the MFL and then selling it again, or if he really wants to play with that club. Time will tell. Over to you.
Splash of the week. We've got another lovely splash here for you today, folks. Going by the name of Florencio Mayor, a Spanish 90-rated centre-back, being purchased by Dio from Private Joker for 1,099 United States tariff dollars. Age 23, as he said, as his centre back, he's Spanish. He's got an overall of 90. Here are his stats for you, and they're kind of interesting, to be fair. 70 pace, 63 passing, 63 dribbling, 97 defending, the standout stat. Good to have on a centre-back, of course. 86 physical, and for those who care about shooting on a centre-back, it's 46. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. He seems like one of those centre-backs, you occasionally get them in MFL, who I maybe think that their overall's inflated by one stat.
Yeah, especially defenders have that.
And especially in this case. But then again, Dio does have a track record so far of purchasing legendaries who just continue progressing. So this could be an absolute, we'll call it a Dio masterclass, not even Unai Emery, it's a Dio masterclass of buying legendaries who progress an extra 3, 4, 5, which is ludicrous. But it does seem that apart from his physical and defending, the rest of the stats are a bit meh. Is anyone else in the same opinion?
You rather have, like last week we had this amazing versatile defender, and this is like the opposite. But yeah, Dio is one. He's really hunting these progression players who already progressed, show signs of having great pot, and he just buys them, and maybe they can develop those other skills too. But yeah, do you really need? Maybe you can, with player instructions, tell him to just stay in a spot. Don't move too much, don't dribble, no risks, and then he can still function.
I'm not sure what Dio's sides play. If it's a 3 at the back, is having him as one of the outside centre backs with 70 pace could be quite neat. But I think we're just so used to seeing 90+ rated players have really nice all round stats in the stats that aren't their main contributors to their overall. I think probably 63 passing, 63 dribbling. The dribbling we don't really care about on a centre back, but we've seen them with high before. Even with the passing, you've seen 90+ centre backs with 85 passing compared to that. But then again, this could be this 97 defending actually getting the standout stat.
But this is why overall you should be really careful with overall. Yeah, you can buy almost literally the same guy, same overall, with way higher passing, way higher pace.
Yeah.
But it just barely factors into his overall.
Like the total combination of those 6 stats is far more than the play with one standout stat.
Exactly.
He's very similar to Barcenas, actually, but Barcenas is a much better player all around because he's 77 pace, I think. So he's 6'3", which, I mean, I know it doesn't matter, but he's also passing and dribbling are in the 70s, and they're both rated 90. So that's interesting, This guy is technically a better defender, though, and I think that's where the weight comes in. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good pickup. It's not.
Dio doesn't make many like spontaneous or not thought out and well researched purchases. There's a motive behind this, so I think you've got to you back Dio in this case, and he's put him straight to his platinum team as well. I've just looked, so and he has gone up. Here we go. Talking of progression, he's gone up from a 79 rated to a 90 rated player. So there's the progression.
Exactly.
Which you probably should have looked at beforehand.
That's very promising. But we'll have to keep an eye out how he develops. IRL MFL, well, you watched Liverpool City.
I watched
Any
Liverpool
things
City.
you saw there that you thought
Liverpool.
IRL MFL?
I really do think they've probably got one hand on the title already. Could have said this a couple of weeks ago, but especially with Arsenal losing at home to West Ham, massive upset. And Arsenal be kicking themselves, especially with the midweek result against Villa and Liverpool being 2-2, dropping points there, and obviously at the time of the game being played yesterday, this game today hadn't gone on, so you would at least like to put some pressure on Liverpool. But then with that game being a loss for the Gunners, Liverpool probably have a little bit of less stress going into this game, and they just played well. Man City had a lot of the ball. The goals that they scored were such classic Liverpool, although the first one actually was quite funny because they said that Liverpool have scored the least amount of goals from set piece in the Premier League. It could even be 0. And then as they say that, they bring out this set piece routine that we've never seen with Liverpool before, where the corner gets passed to the man at the front post. So Boschlei, without even looking, just flicks it on to the penalty area, and Salah just goes bang, and it goes straight in. And you're like, oh my word, that was very,
wow,
very
like
nice.
over his shoulder.
So passes it back, and then Salah sort of like he's side on. It comes off Nathan Ake and goes in, so it's a little bit deflected in. But the whole routine itself was so clean, and Man City never expected it. Like even if the goal had gone straight in without a deflection, or even it hadn't missed, they've like the pass from Szoboszlai to Salah off the initial corner. Rico Lewis tries to get his foot to it and stretches, but he can't get there. He's like inches away. It was all timed perfectly, and the second goal was just a ball over the top for Salah, who passes it to Szoboszlai, coolly puts it past Ederson. But Salah's just a joke, man. He's always been a joke. Last season, I think he was a bit off for his standard, but he just tears defenders apart, man. He's so good to watch, especially from an FPL point of view as well. He's lovely. He's lovely.
But this, what you said about the set pieces, this would be a lovely MFL thing. If you can have some set piece routines, if you can really...
Just draw arrows, draw arrows.
Yeah,
at every
set piece
player
instructions.
and just get to go everywhere.
If you watch football and then especially Ronaldo, he's gonna shoot from everywhere, right? Like, dude, just cross it. But then, if you can tell your guys, from some angles instead of shooting, just cross it, or do a routine, or do pass it, square it, pass to the side and cross it in from there, or like do some routines. That would be great, really, like corner, free kick instructions. So. That can be the MFL takeaway from this IRL story. 408, did you watch any? MLS is back. Are you back MLS fan watching, supporting?
What I watch every weekend is just the highlights to basically every Premier League match. So I don't watch any full match, but I'm also watching, Ipswich play Metaverse, so I know. But
put yourself through that torture.
Well, I put it on in the background while I'm doing something, So yeah, no. I like it because it gives me a good sense of what's happening in the entire league, and I get to know more players and things like that. So like Liam Delap, right? So
yeah, he's a good player, to be fair.
He's not bad. So
Okay.
But IRL moment. So I coached youth soccer, and last night we had a futsal game. Speaking of upsets, we beat a team that destroyed everyone in the league, even us. They beat us by 5 goals, right? Which I guess is not too bad in futsal. But last night we beat them in the final 6-5.
Huge. So, congrats, man.
And I mean, XG and all of that, and the unpredictability of these little guys, but it was a high level, and it was a fun match to watch. And one of the kids was on the bench, and he was like, "Wow, it's so loud in here." it was inside a basketball gym, and so there's tight area and a lot of parents watching and stuff, and it was a close match and very, very competitive. So it was fun,
So curious about instructions. Like, you got beaten by 5 goals. So did you have a plan going into this match? Is there something you tell them? Do you have like this lovely whiteboard and you told them like, we're gonna, I don't know, sit back, do very tight marking, go for the counter, or high pressure? Like you said, high pressure. Like, what do you like that? So. What did you tell them?
Yeah, so I guess, futsal is a little different, but if you break it down, that it's really the same sport in a way, right? The game moves a little quicker, a little bit differently. And I think the tactic going into it was we would send one guy to pressure and the other 3 guys would kind of sit back and just, because we were playing a very technical, strong team, and we had a couple guys that were a year younger. So we didn't want to let them have too much space in behind to work the ball past us. And we really wanted to kind of force them a little further up the court, if you will, until we would try to take the ball from them. And then, I don't know, we just played our hearts out, and maybe there was a little bit of luck, so.
Chance favors the prepared.
That sounds like a good plan. Like what you would do against a better side. A bit of a lower line, right, with our instructions, and then have one guy
and then
press, and then...
I told him to just defend aggressively and play quick, and play fast when we have the ball, because they're also gonna be very, very aggressive, and they're going to come at us and try to take the ball from us quickly. So if we hold on to it, if we dilly dally on the ball, if you will, it's not going to create any chances or anything. So yeah.
Nice.
Wonderful. Congrats, man. That's huge.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Nice,
Appreciate it.
Lovely to hear that.
Probably the best IRL MFL we've had so far.
Yeah, definitely. It's really
we speak about football. You're like, okay, well, that's sure.
It makes me
managerial
want to,
experience and a CV.
Yeah, I need to set up some coaching, IRL coaching team, high school team. I could do it maybe. But then, did you have a beer to celebrate afterwards or not?
I did not, but I do have a beer that I'd like to add to the top three.
Lovely.
So I'm gonna go with the Russian River Supplication.
Russian River sounds interesting.
Supplication.
Yes, Supplication by Russian River.
Doesn't sound like a drink whatsoever, but it is.
Supplication by Russian River. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of beer
It's an interesting one. It's like a brown ale that's aged in Pinot Noir barrels, and it has like cherries in it and stuff. So it's got like a bit of a tart, sour taste to it,
Very nice.
So that's great, yeah. But you have to replace another one, so we have to kick out. I'll read the top three to you. On the third place, we have Erdinger, Palmer's Choice, German beer. Then Taggart, second place with an American one, the Brewer's Banquet Original. And Orange Fly puts his beer on number one last time. Goose Island IPA, I don't know if you know it. Also American. So, where are you going to put this one?
Number 2. Sorry, Taggart.
The Brewer's Banquet is going to go away.
Brewer's Banquet's got to go.
Okay, so Supplication by Russian River. Supplication, I'm typing it right now, by Russian River. Great. Lovely. So we got our top 3. Now it's time for the main segment. As we said before, we're doing a little State of MFL, like State of the Union. You describe how it's going in the country. State of MFL, we're talking about the beautiful game, our beautiful game. How is it going? What are the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, threats? We're going to talk about all of those things. Are we ready? You prepared some things?
Yes, sir.
We're going
yes.
Yes, okay.
I have some notes ready.
Some notes even.
Good man.
So let's start with the strengths then. Maybe the positive. We start with like a positive, and then we can start maybe criticizing some things. So what are the strengths of MFL, would you say?
Who's going
I would
first?
say the community. Community is amazing. I mean, I think this pod is incredible. There's so many other things going on too. There's so many people that a new user, one might think, is part of the team. There's people doing things that seem like they're a resource that's engaged and being, I don't know, incentivized, but genuinely they're just good people. The rankings page, all of that, so because that's all, to my understanding, that's all community run, right?
A lot of it, yes, yeah, totally. A lot of community initiatives, a lot of users doing things just for fun, absolutely free. Yeah, no incentives, as you said, just like MFL Assistant, or if we talk about MFL Manager France or Ali's Tool or our pod, or just, because it's fun, right? So definitely, I agree, community is definitely a huge strength.
100%. And going back to your piece around sort of particular members who, I guess they go above and beyond, and you would assume they're connected to the team in somewhat, just even with new users, like a new user will come in and they'll ask a question, and even as myself as like a captain, that's what one of my main roles are there, to sort of facilitate the onboarding and answer questions, or just answer questions regardless of who they are within the Discord, if I can try and help them gain some more knowledge. And sometimes I leave it like a good 10-15 minutes before if I end up replying, I want to see if someone else feels like doing it, because it comes from sort of like a general user. I guess it seems more
genuine,
yeah, even though I've not none of us captains sort of volunteering work or that sort of piece. There's nothing there. Still, you get some even new members who've been in the game for the last couple of weeks will be answering questions to new users, and I just see it's just a constant, like passing on of knowledge from even the youngest users to the upcoming
circle
users,
of life,
which is
kind
great.
of thing.
Yeah, and it's really great to see. And I think
Yeah.
overall, though, I really love that point because that's one of the ones I've got down as a community piece. It's just phenomenal from all the content people. Calvin, you do your piece with all your tutorials and your other content. Clickbait titles at times that we completely love them, and obviously the stuff we do. And I think when we get messages from people saying they love the pod, we had one from someone on the pod, and it was like, I love your guys' content, like it truly brings MFL to life. And I was like, I love that. I love that sort of stuff. And even like there's Twitch streams as well, just that community aspect, people jumping in and saying hello and chiming in. So yeah, I love that one from you 408Sauce. Love that.
Yes. Jimbo, what did you write down? You have this one, obviously, but also
no, I've got this one. Yeah, we often talk about emotions in the game, and I really do think that as much as MFL at times can anger us all for the results don't go our way, there's all upsets. I really do truly believe that MFL is like a really immersive experience as a user, especially from the emotions point of view, where I'm getting nervous for games. I'm getting more nervous for games than I am for like job interviews. I'm going, this shouldn't be possible. This shouldn't be possible. And when you win a game, the feeling you get, especially if you've done a masterclass of tactics or something's worked out, like the satisfaction you gain, the emotion is you can't compare it. And I think just sort of that connection you have with playing the game, I don't get it with many other games, with any other we'll call it multiplayer game, right? I don't get that feeling, but I do with MFL. So I really truly believe it's an immersive experience in that sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I packed this guy and I was on the phone with Sturgeonator, I was jumping up and down, literally.
Yeah. We've all done it.
Yeah. I think
it's a 2% chance, right? Less.
Yeah, very few. Yeah.
So if you do the math on that, the upset is more likely to occur at 18%. If I'm playing you and you have a 3xg and I have 1, I only have an 18% chance to win the game. So I don't know. I think you're absolutely right. The emotion that it can instill, that was one of the things that I wrote down here, or not specifically, but I wrote, I think the decision-making and the efficiency and the way that the team handles a lot of the ethical things, right? Like, I think those 3 things combined kind of help to incite these very raw and real emotions, because they're selective with the features that they put out. They're trying to do it quickly. They're trying to make changes that the community wants. They're still specific, and also the engine and the UI are 2 of the other strengths that I have listed here. And I think they help tie into that too. They bring about this entire comprehensive, holistic experience that allows you to be immersed, and that's not easy to do because it's multifaceted, right? So you have to be very detail oriented because that's what makes up the bigger picture is all of these small little segments, if you will, but you also have to have the grand view, and you have to be able to take a step back and look at things from a removed perspective, or look at the bigger scheme kinda and where it's headed. And I think overall they've done a good job, so.
I would agree. The team and the transparency also from, like, let's say with that mid-season report, just their announcements, that's really top notch. The one I thought, I kind of anticipated like we would mention those things like community, team, and one other element that maybe is overlooked and that's very important, I think, for the long run, is also that it's self-funded, that like they don't have big investors or they don't have some capital, so they don't really also have outside pressure to deliver or to gain users or to have targets or to I don't know, grow the product or pay back people or loans and I feel like if you look at the competition like Futium, they just throw money at the wall and just, I don't know if that's a saying, but it feels like they're just they just throw money at everything, just use cash prizes and just rent some big influencers and just pay them to make content. And I think in the long run that's not going to be very sustainable. Well, this approach, self-funded, you take at your own pace, much more controlled, super small team, way more sustainable, way more flexible, not rushing anything. The product is kind of here. Would we say this is the final product? I wouldn't say so, right? They're still building a lot, and they don't have to rush. They can slowly grow, which is lovely, I think. It's another good strength of the project.
The development is amazing, I think. I think they've done a really good job with it. I know there's people that have qualms about it. Oh, why isn't my guy getting better? Blah, blah, blah. Why is this guy getting so, but I think overall it's pretty good. I think keeping the potential hidden is keeping everybody on their toes. They're doing a good job of striking that balance of building enough suspense, right? Creating that cliffhanger, but also kind of giving you something tangible to latch onto. And if you see guys like Dio trying to buy the players that have already shown signs of development, I think that's a smart move, So I might have to start doing that myself.
And indeed, it's also hard to, I think with Nap and the Pentas on the pod, we also talked about it. Like you really did a great thing with the progression. Super hard to reverse engineer, there's so many unique elements to it that make it unpredictable. Which is like such an important part of the game is the players, and that you cannot really predict where they go, how to develop, and you have to take care of them and all these variables. Yeah, makes it great. But we have to talk about weaknesses. It all starts to get so positive that we have to address some weaknesses. Anyone want to start?
I'll kick off this one. I love this is one that I don't think they'll ever be able to get around, but there's something around like 6-week seasons can make it tough, particularly for new users. Aside from the Redemption Cup, which don't really have that great of prizes, which I've heard some people have complained to me about before, which obviously the prizes are dictated by the amount of users in the Redemption Cup. If you're a new user and you miss the league, and I guess the important piece is you want your own club, you want to register your own club. You can go and buy one off the marketplace, but let's say hypothetically you cannot buy a club off the marketplace. There's none there. There's no club listed on for sale on the marketplace. You go and have that ice club. You have potentially could be waiting 6 weeks to play your first season, which could be a turn off for some people. And I think maybe some people we see occasionally in the Discord someone goes, "Oh, I bought a club pack. I'll wait till next season to register it." I don't know what the conversion rate of those people who say that and then actually do come back are probably quite high, but there's still, I feel like there's some users maybe lost through that wait. It's not an instant jump in if you want to run your own club or have that true pack experience. But then again, it is because you can buy a club from the marketplace, but some people want to just have their own club. But in a world where there is no clubs in the marketplace because everyone just doesn't want to sell them, I know that'll never happen, but hypothetically, that's a bit of a blocker for some users.
Yeah, I guess I never considered that.
Like if you're told like, "Oh, I want to play any game online," or any game on like Steam,
right? You
or
just
whatever,
download it,
you
play
just
it right
download
away.
and play. But this time, theoretically, you might have to wait 6 weeks. You might have to. You don't have to make that decision, but the route you go down is like buy the starter packs, buy the club packs, also sort of guide you down that path initially, because you're like, I get packs as a new user. What can I do with this club pack? You're like, register it in 5 weeks' time. But you could have bought one off the marketplace and you could have registered one or bought a club off the marketplace that was already registered.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have that information firsthand, sort of thing.
Yeah. No, that's maybe a weakness so far. Yeah, that like the there needs to be more opportunities for playing or more different levels and tiers. I think this week I kind of kickstarted the whole free-to-play discussion in general when I dropped that, like, okay, maybe a free-to-play level, like an amateur level, I call it, and like a professional where you buy your players and you buy your clubs and it's like a real economy, and maybe a free-to-play where you just generate non-NFTs, a bit like Sorariat, all those like random common unlimited whatever. You just generate some players, you generate a club, and you can start playing as like a super low bar also for entry, plus you can start off the bat. The team is of course developing that, and maybe another weakness is that then the entry point seems a bit high sometimes, right? Maybe the initial money you have to put down, or it seems like a lot of money because you look at the marketplace, at the prices. Maybe you don't know you can sign guys. You have to pay 80 for a club. Maybe that scares away some guys. So then free-to-play can be an option, or maybe better information marketing, marketed differently. But yeah, that can be a weakness.
It's a hard one, that sort of thing, where the free-to-play piece or the introducing new ways for new users to play, because inevitably the opportunity cost of doing that at the current point of time is it detracts from development of the current pyramids, and you're like, well, would you rather have the current pyramid, the current game developing, or would you rather see that other options coming for new
route
users?
B,
and the majority will say no, we don't want that. So it's a very hard one to swing and balance, isn't it?
That within the game you can host tournaments or run tournaments, or with those quick tournaments or rapid tournaments.
I'd love rapid play. I find them fun.
Let's say we can set up a WenDirk Cup, like a promotional thing. We want people get interested in WenDirk Club. We both have, 2K left. We just throw like, hey, you can win 2K, 16 teams, knockout.
Yeah.
We stream it.
Being able to transfer MFL, I guess, is a potential weakness, if you will, if I want to give you MFL or host a tournament where I'm putting up my MFL as the prize. So
I think it's having that as an option to do that, like the rapid play or set your own tournaments. I think I saw Duff said like he wasn't a massive fan of rapid tournaments, or rapid play tournaments, but he's like, well, I appreciate other people do. Just having that option there
more action
is great. It doesn't always have to be. You can't have it, you can have it. Maybe you can have it, but not everyone has to utilize it. It doesn't have to be everyone uses it. No. It's a bit like quest matches. Anything is possible. So true. Like on your shirt as well, jumper. Yeah. If you're not watching video, switch to video and you'll see jumper. But a bit like quest matches. Some people use them, some people don't. But some people find them really fun, some people don't.
That's a solution to the 6-week drought, let's say you can call it, if you miss out on registration and you're kind of stuck. That there's way more going on, plus that you can run a tournament, set up tournaments, way more action in the way more buzz. For content creators, it would be perfect to now it's possible, right? You can probably open tickets. We could probably do this. But it takes a bit more action. We can open ticket, talk to Yaks. You can probably. For Wednesday, we can maybe stream this tournament and set it up. It could be possible. But if it's like quick off the bat, maybe, 408 you, Sturge, Amino, you guys want to do a quick tournament, some testing with your best teams. And because you just love to, gamble, play a bit of, you put 5K MFL each, I don't know. And then, you run this tournament that can bring a bit of a buzz, put more friends against each other, a bit more like a poker night, you make an MFL night. Things like that could be great, to do that. Did you write down other points? Maybe?
Yeah, a couple other weaknesses that I had listed potentially would be saturation of the market and, too many players and things like that, or rather there not being a high enough demand for certain level players and whatnot. And also like the fact that the community is so powerful and so great, but it's also self-regulated. I think it's seen some issues with, floaty bids and whatnot and things like that. Some kind of new users trying to navigate the landscape, if you will, and then the conflicts between them and some of the existing users and whatnot. And, sort of I don't know. There's no lay of the land, if you will, which could be a weakness. I guess it all just depends on your perspective, you know.
Yeah. No, I think definitely we had a massive discussion about supply, right? And that people are like worried about supply and that we talked about this last week, right? That there's like quite some drops, rewards before the mass retirement sets in and it starts to become cyclical, kind of. So the supply keeps growing, and without proper user growth, some people get worried about it and complain about it. That's always will, I think, in my eyes, always will keep a problem. The whole controlling supply, prices, demand. In general, controlling a market, like a central bank also has problems with controlling economies with interest rates, and no one's happy with a higher one, and some are like lower, some like higher. No one's ever happy. So that's always a discussion point. I had another one we often talk about as the weakness is the in-app thing, right? In-app market. They're working on market offers, so they know it. The in-app communication, in-app, that you only need to open MFL and you can do all your business inside MFL. That would be the dream. So the communication with other users, all your bids and offers and sales, and you can do it within one app. I think that's a dream, and right now you do need other platforms to function.
Yeah, especially Discord. If you want to do like negotiations or anything like that, it's the best place to do it, and you shouldn't have to be for news or a lot of users that you feel at a disadvantage because you're not on Discord quite a bit. I guess there are some things out there, say like rejecting offers, for example. I know there is the text box there, but how many of us have meaningfully rejected offer and always type something in there? One that could be quite nice from like a Sorare point of view is when you reject an offer for one of your players, you can't type in anything, which I still want to be able to have an option to type something in, but it gives you like 4 presets, like offer too low, want minimum contract. If you could just click that and it would send that with the rejection rather than have to type on your phone, I want minimum 15%, and you're doing that.
I think that's how FM works a lot. Like after the match, it asks you, like as the manager, like in the press interview, you have 5 options to respond to these media questions. How are you going to choose to, and it's like a preset sentence, or sometimes it's 2 or 3 sentences, and you can just select it, and your choice kind of impacts the game, if you will,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you guys are bringing up good points, and those features are all things we want to see, but it kind of goes back to like the strengths that I was talking about, the decision making by the team. Like, is it worth it for Yaks to be coding away for the chat feature, or like can we all just use Discord if we need to? And if Jimbo's not on Discord and I want to buy his player, then too bad, or whatever.
Buy it for 2 extra price. Buy it what I've
listed
for,
price.
Man,
that's Jimbo's
stingy,
problem. That's Jimbo, and that's the problem that Jimbo and I have, Calva. Yaks doesn't care, right? Like he doesn't give a hoot, So
no,
he's focused on making sure that in MFL there's 3.54 goals, while in the Prem there's 3.42, and Serie A's at 3.10 or whatever. He's making sure the engine's like making as many people happy as possible, and I don't know. So it's tough,
No.
Maybe having a small team, maybe the team being here. I'll say one negative thing about the team is too small. That could be
of
like
course,
a weakness.
It's a matter of priorities, right? It's like, of course, the in-app communication and chatting is maybe not the highest priority. I would say marketplace offers and immediately, making offers and accepting within the app, that would be a bit higher than the messaging. But the main priority is having an amazing game that we can play. Of course, that is the main priority. So, but that's, you can't say the weakness is not enough people to make all of those things happen and respond. And but that on the other side, that gives them way more runway to slowly develop it, and not the first thing I said is a strength, that they don't have to rush and have pressure of some investors who are hunting them and like, okay, just do more drops and make some cash for us, like there is no pressure like that. So All right.
Yeah.
More weaknesses or
I just want to do one small, and I sort of want to expand and, on what you once said there, Cal, about the in-app piece and, well, actually not about the in-app piece, about maybe say for new users there. Part of me still thinks to a degree that there is quite an initial steep learning curve for MFL for new users. Just navigating around the application. Where do I cancel a contract? Want to buy a club off the marketplace? I know Gax done some great things with notifications and pop-ups there. This club has X amount of revenue share. You still see people get burnt out by that. Discord does a great job at helping new users with that, but there seems to be, we do get the same questions being asked. And when you look at it from a new user perspective, you go, oh, I understand why you're asking that question. For us, we're like, oh, it's easy. We have X, Y, Z. That's the answer to that. Because combined here, we've got, at least 7 years of experience with MFL between us. We've got a lot where someone new doesn't, even if they're from, I guess, an FM background or whatever, a bit different. But I think in some cases, it can be a steep learning curve. I don't know how there's an easy fix for that, because there's always going to be that to an nth degree, especially as developments happen. But I think there is sometimes a small case of people like, the common question we get all the time, I mentioned it already, how do I go request a cancellation for my contract? And we'll put our big red circles around everything, bosh, there. Save those photos for the next 3 times in the next 3 weeks. Yeah. And I know there's tutorials around the page, but there's not. And there is that FAQ piece as well, and the help page. When you buy a new game, do you read the manual?
What is the saying about leading someone to water or something? Or it's like
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach it how to drink, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's
you can't make it drink. Yeah,
exactly. You can put so many tips and this Andrea assistant, and we can put so many red circles. But in the end, it's just people are impatient. They don't read. They don't. Take an hour to check it out. Yeah. Okay.
On a cool note, maybe a solution to that would be how there's all these community-run resources and tools, if you will. What if someone held instead of just a pod where you listen, what if it was an open Zoom call once a week or something? I'm a new user. I can log in and be like, hey, I have a question.
An induction call once a week for new users.
Yeah.
MFL welcome back.
MFL 101.
I'm not going to put the pressure on the team to do that, obviously, but I was just thinking, maybe I run it. I don't know.
I think as natural growth happens and we grow as a game, and more content creators join in, and there's more content just out there on MFL, that partially solves that. Because I think Nep said, when you Google MFL, it comes up with, have you spelt NFL wrong? Are you looking for modern foreign languages? But the more it's out there, when we first typed in the WenDirk Cast, you'd have to type in it word for word, quotations, and it would come up. But now you can type in WenDirk and it pops up top of the page. It's just about creating the content in
you're
quantity.
That popping?
We're that popping. I remember we're that popping
you're
now.
That cracking, yeah.
But I mean, it took nearly a year. It took nearly a year and a half for MFL on my Google to not be modern foreign languages, and for it to be Metaverse Football League. It's those sort of, and if there's more content out there, it helps the onboarding process, because everyone just loves visuals. No one likes reading text. We see that with so many things.
That's my next goal celebration. My next goal celebration.
I think
WenDirk.
Last thing about this is the best thing we can do is just to incentivize people to do it and to read. Just give them 100 MFL, cancel the contract, sign a contract, 100 MFL, cancel the contract, 100 MFL.
Kind of like in FIFA, how you have the objectives, and the first one is name your club.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just make it super, super easy, and then
gamify the learning of the game.
Yeah, we solve 2 problems, because then people read everything because they get MFL to find all the buttons. Plus, they have money for the development center, which is the other.
It's like our quizzes on the stream.
Yeah.
If you don't know the answer, you know the answer after the quiz, because you got given the answer, and you don't want to lose out on potentially winning MFL or a pack or a player in our next quiz. I think we do. That's what I
incentivize making learning fun. Yes. Well, that's maybe also an opportunity. So we're speaking now about opportunity. So one opportunity is incentivize the reading and the learning with some MFL.
Americans in the mud. Taggart.
We can do it.
Long term.
Other opportunities you guys thought about, or some opportunities?
I think the ceiling for our growth is stupidly high. Like, we don't know where it can go. We are still so small in terms of a user base. You know, we've been around for a couple of years, but we are still so small. I can't off the top of my head like what the most recent, say, club ownership is, but it's, you know, still within the 1,000 to 2,000 range. Scale that up by 5x, you're at 10,000, and who knows what MFL looks like in you know, with 10,000 users. And I think it'll be like a gradual pace we've got it now, and then it could just boom up really quickly, like a So Rare or just NFTs in general just could boom up crazily if the right doors open at the right time in succession. But then on the other hand of that, when growth comes at a stupidly quick rate, you have to be careful not to fuck things up as well, because you get a bit too...
it's a threat,
a bit too horny for development and to success, and you end up being the downfall. But that's where we've got, I think, full backing of the team and the slow pace. They've done things right in the right steps, and they've never... You could argue something with the drop increase of supply or price could be greedy, but I don't think it's greedy in terms of like Top Shot levels greedy. I think that's the range we're going up here. Like Top Shot's the worst case scenario in that 2021 Jan to Feb boom. The chance there's inevitably in the next couple of years we could do that, but I would like to think it's not a up and down like a roller coaster. It's more of a nice escalator continually going upwards with different jumps.
No, it is a threat, I think, opportunity. Speaking about opportunity threat, like one threat is like, let's say Neps. He was posting one tweet with MFL. If he starts shilling it on like a daily basis, streaming, and then suddenly you got like, I don't know, 5K people. How are you gonna handle it? It can be a threat.
If he streams or does like big content on it full time on YouTube, I think I sells out within days.
Yeah, it's like, are you ready for that?
I've said that to Lucas before. Like, are you ready for that? Because that will happen. And I think he's aware of it, and they're aware of that.
Do you have a plan? Do you have like your grass league?
Because you have to move
dirt
quick.
League?
You have to move quick for that.
Yeah, is it ready for it? So that is a threat, and its opportunity is indeed there is a huge potential for growth.
More of an opportunity, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because it combines.
But where's the ceiling for that? You know, would it be ludicrous to say, you know, hey, Saudi Prince wants to buy your agency now for 10 million USD? You know, would you sell it? I would.
Well, I mean, I think you could totally sell it to the Saudis. Like, they have this neon project. You know, they want to diversify. They want to have these ridiculous build a line of 170 kilometers in the desert of 500 meters tall, whatever. So if you tell them about the new football Web3 NFT thing, they would love it.
Yeah, they were offering like 10 grand a week or 10 grand a month plus a house and a car for like 3rd or 4th division Saudi a couple of years ago. Like me, I just need 19 other mates and we'll go join a club and we'll go for a couple of years and get 10 grand a week. I'll do that and come back. No, sure, they got some money to put in MFL. Like, you know, what our volume is, like 1.5, 1.6 million across marketplace. That's Splash of the Weeks could be going like extinction level meteoroid drops of the week. You know, not talking splash, we're talking big bucks. But yeah, that's you know, let's come back down to earth here. I do agree with you that I think the ceiling is crazy, but we've got I think we're still on the. I would say we're still
tread carefully.
Yeah, we're still super low there.
And there's also like, you know, speaking about marketing and getting those people in to I think there is still an opportunity for marketing, because so far almost all growth has been pretty much organic, you know.
100%.
You could really do some targeted ads. You can, you know, really with ads, I think, quickly get people to check it out and know about it. But so far they haven't done it because they liked organic growth, not too fast, not to have this.
Yeah. Organic.
But there's still an opportunity. You can pull that, you know, trigger lever and
the buzz
and generate the buzz if they want. But that's
I had collabs written down, so I feel like they haven't collaborated too much with other entities and whatnot. And I think it'd also be interesting to see it being used by clubs professional clubs, and kind of in the way that FM is, if they could find some utility for it, or if they found some way to integrate, you know, popular players or celebrities or whatever, you know, find someone to basically endorse it, if you will. And I think that could be a big opportunity for them, but you know, the team's probably weary of that and wants to tread carefully, and that's smart, I think. So
yeah. They've had that organic growth, like Cava said, in that sort of micro influencer piece, and they've always made it very clear that they want to have the product before doing any of that. You can't go to big influencers and do all that sort of piece before season 1 started. There's no promotion relegation. Talking about an FM game doesn't have pro relegation, which is being advertised like crazy. That just doesn't sort of happen piece. But I'm excited for the wherever that ceiling is. It might be ceilingless.
But there was speaking about that, like, you know, having big collabs or real life clubs. There was this time when all, you know, football clubs start to get like their own YouTuber, their own FIFA player, right? Who was then like, and he had like the E-divisie, like Eredivisie is the Dutch league, and it was an E-divisie, like kind of the E. And then Ajax had his own FIFA guy and a PSV, and they were playing each other. Like they could easily launch their club in the Metaverse in MFL, and you have
E-sport,
you have like the Norwich E Club, the Metaverse, especially when this whole Metaverse NFT blockchain boom. We're still super early. That still has to come. Right now, you know, with Trump's coin and Melania and all the other crazy shit that's going on, it's not going to help to mainstream things. But in the long term, it's a big opportunity, I think. More threats. I think we spoke more opportunity.
This one depends on how you look at it. I think naturally you'd probably someone like Footium. I don't really see it as a threat. I see it more as an opportunity to, like, it's friendly competition to push each other further. So it's maybe a bit like a half threat. But understandably, it is competition and therefore a threat. And it's always important to, like, we're sort of in that sort of football manager Web3 space, the 2 games leading the way, in my opinion. And it's always good to just be slightly further ahead than them. You know, and they'll have piece developments that they will do before us, and vice versa, and things that you can collaborate, not in the sense of you know, like working together, but in terms of, I guess it's collaboration, just going to be gone against what I said there, but is in
a rivalry can be good.
Rivalry can be good. It's pressure. It's a bit like pressure at work, right? A little bit of pressure is good because it motivates and keeps you going. Too much pressure is stressful, and you deteriorate, and it goes downhill quite quickly. That's the careful situation we're not going to get into. We can have that good competition. So understandably, I think they are technically a threat. If you use that cynical word for them, they are a threat.
But it's also, on the other hand, opportunity to be a bit more, you know, to target them a bit more, to do a bit more like pokes at them and get a bit of a, you know, some rivalries going. I've been like thinking about this a lot. Like, should I make a video about like Footium versus MFL? And I think there is. Footium, like, what lacks is really the creativity that you cannot change your logo or change your club name. Like, come on, like, plus you have so many zombie clubs. There's like a lot of things that make it worse than MFL. You could totally exploit that as an opportunity if you want that, but I don't think they want to.
I mean, if you look at like SoRare, for example, they had massive first mover advantage, and you have someone like Ultimate Champions who came in 3-4 years later and never really took off in the same scale because SoRare had dominated. Where, you know, you could see MFL and Footium being a 2-horse race, both starting roughly at the same time. Got the first mover advantage. There's no one really else. Panenka AI. Anyone heard about that for a good couple of months? No, none of us have. I think they followed my Wyverns the other week, and I was like,
I think they also followed me.
Bit weird. You know, don't put my club logo in one of your promo videos, please, because it's not real. It's that sort of piece. We're neck and neck sort of piece, and it's like, well, can we? They're ultimately a market sharer with us, and got to make sure that they don't sap all the users and we take them all. We got to come out on top. We got to come out on top, folks. We got to
I think
use that big dog attitude. We got to come out on top.
That's what I was listing as a threat as well, is, boredom or users leaving essentially to go play another game or do something else because the game isn't interesting enough, or they don't agree with some dynamic of it or whatever, so.
Yeah, and the threat, when you were talking about community as a huge strength, I think there's also a threat as we're growing, that this whole community coziness. We already see it, right? There's like a couple of sometimes guys, and then they say some controversial stuff, and there's like this whole this debates, and it's getting a bit more nasty, way more nasty than before. And just online, people argue way easier. If you're IRL, it's and you look each other in the eyes, and you're like, okay, you're not gonna argue. But online, it escalates so hard and quickly. So I think it is a threat as we grow, that this strength, this community. That's
gotta make sure we grow more.
I think there should really be some kind of fighting channel, or like just go there. Just get like send there if you're getting to
gulag.
Yeah, the gulag. Yeah, the gulag channel. Just go to the gulag and then just fight there. And yeah.
What about like NFT obsolescence, or like, because I don't want to say anything harsh about NFTs, but I'm not big into the Web3 space aside from MFL, and I'm not really, and I think, I don't know if I saw someone wrote in the general, MFL needs to move on from flow, so, and I don't know much about the blockchain or how it works and the tech behind it, but I'm curious as to what you guys think. If you think that like NFTs not being relevant and whatnot in the crypto space is a threat to the game.
Well, it's definitely an opportunity to have a other blockchain which is way more maybe known for games. Flow is, I don't think, known a lot for games.
Yeah.
And who has like a bigger social media, has a bigger reach, bigger marketing team. I really think Flow is not appreciating what's happening in MFL. And that's illustrated by this drop. Like, dudes, couldn't you have communicated this or checked or... I feel like it's not appreciated enough.
I had them down as a weakness. I felt like, I said that unfortunately to an extent, it's an uncontrollable variable that can negatively impact MFL from time to time. So it has to just be considered a weakness, or in this case, a threat. I completely agree. They don't really appreciate MFL as much as they probably should do. Top Shot's the baby of Dapper Wallet, and therefore the baby of Flow, and it seems to get all that. Yeah,
plus there's not so many other games. I think if you look at Flowverse, MFL is really the only game left. Yeah. Pretty much. And then a lot of the other ones, they are dead, or 20 people are still hanging out at
I remember having conversations with Lucas a good while back, like we're talking early last year, back in 2 years ago, about there's that piece around, if you label everything like Web3 blockchain NFT, it does just put people off. I've said time and time again on here, go up to someone else in the UK and tell them you're into NFTs, I probably think you've been dropped on the head as a child or something like that. They're just such a reluctancy.
Like scamming.
The UK loves saving money, let alone spending it on things that aren't real, essentially what I'd say from an English point of view. I'm just speaking for myself here and what I think. There might be others in English who are like, oh, you're chatting rubbish, Jimbo, and I fully appreciate that. But there's definitely a piece around if I don't really look at MFL as an NFT game. Be like So Rare. So Rare said to get NFT. You never really interact with the blockchain at all, and neither on MFL. They did a great job of that. I need to ensure that stays like that.
But I cannot wrap my head around it, that people are like, oh no, NFTs are bad. NFT games never gonna make it. Well, you have all those kids, taking their dad's credit card and spending 10,000 on Fortnite skins.
Fortnite, yeah,
and then like that is
skins or V-Bucks. That's like, it's the same
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, and then they say like that is then like, oh, that's just normal gaming. But then if it's suddenly that skin is an NFT and you can really transfer it and sell it to other people in a wallet, and suddenly that is like a scam or whatever. Like, it makes no sense. But so the whole world, still needs to just learn about it, appreciate it. For me, it's really the future. You know, you're gonna have your university degree as an NFT in 20 years, I think, on the blockchain. That you just the government blockchain, you can see how Jimbo.
Government blockchain. I'll tell you what, I would have won that for a start. I'm not having a government of a blockchain, man.
Yeah, what? Why not the government blockchain?
It's just something about government.
You know, they already have like
that just doesn't usually fit well.
They already have your social security number, and they already know who you are and who your parents were. Like they have a civil service with data about, you know, that's how the government works. So it's gonna be then more efficient, maybe stored on a public blockchain or some transparent. Not public for that kind of data, of course, but other things for like that the university system can access. Okay, those people or those degrees, and they are accepted worldwide on a university registry, something like that. Those little things. That's how I see it. But right now, it's people think about apes that got bought for 2 million.
A rough like year of NFTs has unfortunately tainted that word or that phrase, or you know, for the rest of the globe, basically. I think for the average Joe blogs.
So it's maybe now you can say a bit of a threat or a weakness, but I think in the future it's going to be a great opportunity. Long term. Okay, final thoughts. Well, we have a question actually.
I've got one more threat actually.
One more threat and then a question.
It's I don't know how much of it was understandably a threat. Not sure how much of a big threat it is. I guess it's just things like if spending within the game comes down, and let's just say like the whole global economic environment worsens and people spend less. Ultimately, MFL is funded by spending of users. If users spend less, the game doesn't grow as much, and it's just if there's ever situations where an economic downturn of a couple major players or the world or anything like that, you know, could it have a negative impact on MFL? So it's a small threat at this point, but it's one that can easily snowball and get massive if it ever happens. And because there is that self-funded piece is done by the users. If users don't spend as much.
But I think that's then, you know, there's always going to be a very passionate community.
Worst case scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, but then like with ballers, right? You can then everyone just buys it, or you know, you put a couple $100 down, and then you all still keep running the costs and keep it as a hobby. And maybe not on that scale, but yeah, it's a threat, of course, and we don't want it to happen. But I think there can be like some kind of Wimbledon or baller scenario where, with a passionate community, you say it. Like,
I'm going to throw it out there then. Are DAOs a threat?
No, I don't think so. There should be some rules to maybe contain them, not have them in the same league, that it keeps being fair. But that's just football. That's like you have a whole City group, right? You have a whole Red Bull group.
But there is regulations in place to stop owners within countries owning X amount of a second club within the country and then being in the same league.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what MFL does to an extent, but there is, because they're in different wallets, that's sort of looped through that. But
also, I
like
think
if the whole of Diamond, sorry for it, I'll come back to you. If the whole of Diamond is like 4 DAOs own like 12 of the clubs, does that become a threat then? Does that become a problem then? That's sort of the situation that, you know, we've got 2 DAOs in Diamond already. Queso shows and Ballers, which occupy, in theory, 3 of the clubs. I guess I think Queso should have a second one in Plat, and another. You know, is it a threat? No. Potentially, could it be? I think yes, potentially, but I don't think it ever does become. It has the potential to be. Go on, chat away 408. Sorry, I kept going then.
Yeah, I think the DAOs are interesting. I mean, in a sense, it can be a threat or it can be unfair. I guess it all depends on your perspective, you know, because to my understanding, the City group or the Red Bull group, they can't just, you know, fake transfers for 80 million euros to get out of FFPP, right?
City will try.
So, yeah, I know, but like, that's not how it works, you know? So if you're allowing that kind of business to be conducted within the metaverse, then, you know, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
there
if
should just be
everyone. I
some-
don't know if everyone would agree that it is fair or not a threat. You know.
But I mean, maybe even a DAO is better because there's some transparency. Like literally, me, you, and me, like us three, we can also work together and have secret meetings and do all kinds of shenanigans, right? You can always do that. So that's also in the business world, and that's just like how the world works. You can always make. And maybe even it's better that it's a DAO and you can join their Discord server and see a little bit, keep a check out on what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say.
I always like throwing that one out there because I think it's a very much divided opinion within the community. So I love, some people don't like, some people do like it. You know, it's
then make your own DAO.
Throw it in there.
I would say.
Yeah.
Are you guys, if you don't mind me asking, are you guys part of any DAOs or?
I'm part of the board.
You don't have to share it.
I have one token. I've said it before, and I've got one token. I vote in a couple of things, but because there's like a couple hundred tokens, my vote is, and I chime in a few things, but I've not always got the time to. They do a lot of great work in there. Like they're really thorough with all their stuff, and I wish them all the success. I'm part of it, so I'm helping fund that. If I say it's a threat, I'm funding the threat. But yeah, I'm part of the DAO.
Yeah, well, I have no
from like a community aspect.
No tokens here,
really.
But I am in the server. So
he's a lurker.
I can see a little bit.
Doesn't have access to a few strategy channels though. No.
Okay, final thing is just the question we always ask, or we have a question from our last guest, and 408 you can ask a question to our next guest. So Orange Fly was here last week, and he asked, what choices or changes did you make during the transfer window and why? So we heard about your 16-year-old prodigy. More changes or things you did?
No, that was the only signing that I made to any of my clubs. I actually probably should have put him on the bronze team to prioritize winning the cup, but I've never won a cup in MFL, and my silver team isn't qualified, so maybe it was a mistake, but I also felt bad putting an 85 in a bronze cup,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just something about it just didn't feel right.
We've seen worse.
Yeah, it was maybe a mistake, So, but opening the pack was a decision spurred by the transfer window, because I realized if I didn't sell or open the pack, that the guy would just age without playing, and it was like I couldn't let that happen. So,
okay, interesting. But I like speaking about like MFL etiquette, that you didn't do it. Well, I think so many guys they are like changing between squads based on those cup results and just boosting with free transfers
I did that.
Teams in the cup. So yeah.
I mean, I did put a bunch of Legos onto my sides, and I'm in gold, so I don't know if they, 87 goalkeeper. I don't know if he fits. Wait, Jimbo, I have a quick question. If I captain a goalkeeper, that's just a boost to the defending on my team?
Yeah.
Why would I not just captain a defender then to get the same boost and physical? No?
Because obviously your
goalie then.
Your goalie will get his +2 overall boost as well because of the captaincy.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Wouldn't he get a +2 defending boost anyway? And isn't that all? My keeper's not on the field to score goals.
No,
right?
I think if you want to, if you get the +2 defending in the physical from the defender, but having the +2, having the captaincy increases it overall by +2. So obviously, if you captain a defender, your goalkeeper's not going to get the +2. But if you captain your goalkeeper, yes, you miss out on technically 10 physical across the team, but you'll get the same amount of defending as defender plus your goalkeeper has an extra 2 overall. Which some situations, maybe like a 1-on-1, has a bit more of an impact. So there's that. I've never captained a goalkeeper, I don't think, actually.
No, I don't think.
I'm too scared.
A lot of us do.
If my striker goes 1-on-1, he misses, I'm going, it's because I captained my keeper, man. I captained my keeper.
No, I did it a couple times and it worked, actually. So,
There you go.
Good.
But so to answer that question, that was pretty much the only move I made. I was going to make a couple other moves, but I don't know. When something's not really broken, I'm having a pretty decent season. So I'm projected to finish 5th with my bronze team, but we're top of the league. So and this would be a double promotion. So from iron to bronze and then to silver. Yeah. Back to back promotion.
Nice.
And Old Town is also projected to be relegated, but we're in like 4th place or something. So
nice.
Yeah.
Although soon a bit lower, probably.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. You know.
Okay.
We'll see.
No. Let's see. Well, when this comes out, we know what the Corsairs did.
Yeah.
So to finish up, do you have a question for our next guest?
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. I didn't really come up with anything super
You can maybe
creative.
ask, would you captain a goalie? Would you ever captain a goalie? Speaking about captaining goalies.
I guess maybe this one's been asked before, so I'll kind of like
doesn't matter.
Add a second part to it, or make it a little bit more dynamic, if you will. If you could be part of the team and add features freely and change the course of the game, if you will, what would you do as a member of the team? What would your influence be on the direction that the game is headed, short term and long term? What kind of specific technical changes would you instill, and what would be your hidden agenda, if you will, as a member of the team?
What role would you like to sort of operate within MFL as a team?
Everything.
And how you push that? Oh, okay, I quite like that.
Leave it open ended, as general as you want. That could be part of the answer. If you don't want that to be part of the answer, that's fine. You know.
Okay.
Give us as much detail and storytelling as you want. You know. So yeah.
I like it.
I like that.
I love those questions. But the hypotheticals, they're always good.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, time episode where we give you the hashtag. And the hashtag for today's episode is hashtag Plat Swamp. No one wants to be in the Plat Swamp. Once you're in there, oh my lord, is it hard to get out of the Plat Swamp? So hashtag Plat Swamp. Just want to point out in this episode as well, we've mentioned a wide array of topics here. By no means are they the only topics we could have mentioned. If there are some strengths, some weaknesses, opportunities, some threats that you would like to discuss about, at us on Twitter, at us in the Discord, post on the YouTube comments, let us know your thoughts about the little SWOT analysis of MFL and the state of MFL from your opinion. We'd love to hear from you, from our listeners. Before we do round things up and blow that full-time whistle here, as we're getting a bit into stoppage time now, I want to say a massive thank you to 408 for his second appearance on the podcast. Thank you for joining us, mate.
Woo! Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Love that from you. So, without further ado, hashtag Plat Swamp, and we'll see you this time next week for an episode of the WenDirk Cast. Thank you for listening.